You ever notice how the moment you start telling people your goals, suddenly everybody got an opinion? They telling you what can't happen, what won't work, and how they tried it and failed. But let me tell you something, growth don't happen in noise. Power don't rise in chaos. And your future, it don't need commentary, it needs commitment. Focus on yourself and stay silent. Because when you're busy working, they're busy watching. And one day, they won't have anything left to say. Your energy is a currency, one of the most valuable things you possess. Every day, you make choices about where to spend it. And just like money, if you spend it carelessly, you'll end up broke, drained, frustrated, and going nowhere. One of the biggest traps people fall into is wasting that energy trying to prove something to someone who doesn't even matter in the long run. You're out here explaining your vision to people who can't see past their own fear. You're trying to prove your worth to folks who wouldn't clap for you even if you handed them the rhythm. That's energy mismanagement. The truth is, not everyone deserves your explanation. Not everyone has earned your transparency. There are people in your life right now who only want access to your mind so they can plant doubt in it. And here you are, giving them a front row seat to the show they never believed in. That's why silence is power. That's why focus is wealth. When you stop trying to explain, defend, and justify, and instead get to work, you take your power back. Now, I'm not saying you don't have a story worth telling. You do. But timing is everything. See, a seed doesn't shout while it's growing under the soil. It just stays planted, soaking up the water and the sunlight. And then when it's ready, it rises, quietly, powerfully, and everybody sees the fruit. That's how your life should be. You don't need to announce every plan. You don't need to justify your silence. You don't need to argue with people who can't comprehend your calling. When you spend your energy proving instead of producing, you trade your progress for performance. And performance drains you. You start acting out of insecurity instead of purpose. You start reacting to critics instead of building your craft. You start chasing applause instead of chasing growth. Let me tell you something, applause is addictive. If you're not careful, you'll confuse attention with achievement. Just because people are watching doesn't mean you're winning. You want to know what winning looks like? It looks like consistency. It looks like discipline. It looks like choosing to get up every day and grind, even when nobody's clapping. The enemy of greatness isn't failure, it's distraction. And one of the biggest distractions is the need to prove yourself. Prove what? That you're worthy, that you're smart enough, that you can make it. Listen, the fact that you're still here, after all you've been through, already proves that. Every trial you survived, every heartbreak you healed from, every loss you turned into a lesson, that's your evidence. That's your resume. You don't need their approval. You need your focus. And don't fall for the noise. The culture will tell you that if you're not posting about it, if you're not shouting it from the rooftops, then it's not real. That's a lie. Some of the most powerful moves in life are made in silence. The most successful people don't talk about everything they're working on. They show you when it's done. You want to confuse your critics? Don't argue. Don't clap back. Don't even flinch. Just build. Just improve. Just grow. Because nothing silences a doubter faster than undeniable results. People will try to make you feel small because they're uncomfortable with how big you dream. That's not your problem. You weren't born to fit in their box. You weren't designed to play it safe. If they're intimidated, let them be. If they don't get it, that's on them. You just keep showing up, locked in, laser-focused, building brick by brick. Every hour you spend focused on your craft is an hour you invest in your future. Every moment you choose silence over proving is a step closer to becoming unstoppable. And let me remind you of something else, your time is not free. Your attention is not a donation. If you're constantly distracted by other people's opinions, you'll wake up one day and realize your life has been shaped by voices that never even had your best interest at heart. So stop giving them a seat at your table, protect your peace, guard your energy. And when they ask why you're so quiet, why you're not hanging out like you used to, why you've gone missing from the noise, just smile. Because while they're talking, you're building. While they're doubting, you're developing. While they're watching, you're working. You don't owe anyone an update when you're in the middle of the process. Stay committed to your goals. Stay hungry for your purpose. Stay quiet about your moves. Let the success speak when it's time. Because here's the truth: when you finally step into the fullness of your calling, when the dream you've been grinding for finally comes to pass, nobody's going to remember the silence. They're going to remember the outcome. So the next time you feel tempted to argue, to prove, to explain, pause, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? If the answer is no, then keep it moving. Get back to your path. Get back to your peace. Because the person who wins isn't always the one who shouts the loudest. It's the one who never took their eyes off the vision. And that could be you. Stay focused. Stay silent and let your future make the noise. One of the most powerful things you can ever learn in life is this: growth requires isolation. It's not punishment. It's preparation. When you're evolving, when you're stepping into the next version of yourself, you'll start to feel a pull away from everything that once made you feel comfortable. That's no accident. That's your soul telling you it's time to level up. But leveling up doesn't happen in the crowd. It doesn't happen at the party. It doesn't happen in the noise. It happens in the silence, in the solitude, in the stillness. Now here's the real deal. You will never become who you were meant to be while clinging to who you used to be. And too often, we sabotage our own growth by refusing to let go of the environment that feeds our old habits. You want a new life, but you're still having the same conversations. You want discipline, but you're surrounded by distraction. You want to go higher, but you're hanging with folks who are content living low. That's like trying to run a marathon with ankle weights. Every step is harder than it has to be. Let me break this down for you. Isolation is not loneliness, it's distinction. There's a difference. Loneliness says, I'm by myself and I don't belong. Isolation says, I'm with myself and that's exactly where I need to be. See, sometimes God or life will separate you so He can speak to you. He'll pull you out of circles that were clouding your vision. He'll distance you from voices that were drowning out your intuition. Because in the quiet, you finally start to hear your own thoughts. In the stillness, you finally get to know who you really are. Here's what people don't tell you: growth is uncomfortable. It requires sacrifice. You have to unlearn patterns, break cycles, confront your own demons, and build habits from scratch. And that's not a group activity. That's personal work. That's you looking yourself in the mirror saying, I refuse to be the same next year as I was this year. That's you putting your phone down and picking your purpose up. That's you saying no to temporary fun so you can say yes to a permanent future. Now, when you start walking this path, this focused, intentional, silent journey, you're going to lose some people. It's not because you're wrong. It's because you're growing. And some people only like the version of you that needed them, that agreed with them, that stayed stuck with them. But you're not stuck anymore. You're becoming. You're maturing. You're moving forward. And guess what? Some folks can't come where you're going, not because they're bad people, but because their season in your life is over. And that's okay. One of the hardest truths I had to learn, and maybe you do too, is that not everyone who starts with you will finish with you. That doesn't make you bitter. That makes you wise. See, when you understand that separation is part of elevation, you stop fighting it. You stop begging people to understand your path. You stop shrinking yourself to make others feel comfortable. You stop explaining your vision to people who ain't even built to dream. And let's talk about distractions. In a world where everybody's scrolling, sharing, tweeting, and talking, silence becomes a superpower. You don't need to announce every move. You don't need to prove anything. Let your grind speak for itself. Let your results do the talking. Stay low, stay focused, and let the fruit of your effort show up when it's harvest time. Because while everybody's chasing attention, you'll be building legacy. While they're out trying to impress, you'll be out there improving. And I get it, it's hard. It's hard to unplug. It's hard to be still. It's hard to not get caught up in what everybody else is doing. But here's what you got to ask yourself. Do I want attention or do I want alignment? Do I want applause or do I want advancement? Because one of them is loud and the other is lasting. One of them feeds your ego, and the other feeds your destiny. When you isolate to grow, you'll start to see yourself clearly. You'll realize what you've been tolerating that you shouldn't. You'll notice where your energy has been leaking. You'll begin to hold yourself accountable in ways you never did before. And suddenly, your standards rise. Your focus sharpens. Your dreams get bigger, but so does your discipline. And that's the real transformation. That's what the world won't see right away. But you will, and you'll feel it. You'll walk different. You'll think different. You'll speak different. Not because you're better, but because you've been becoming. And here's the truth you need to carry with you. Every version of your best self was born in a moment of silence. It wasn't in the spotlight. It wasn't in the party. It wasn't in the post. It was in the prayer. It was in the journal. It was in the early morning grind and the late night reflections. It was in the sacrifice nobody saw and the decisions nobody understood. That's where greatness is born. So don't let the silence scare you. Embrace it. Lean into it. Let it mold you, strengthen you, and guide you. Because one day soon, you'll look up and realize that all the isolation, all the separation, all the lonely nights, it wasn't for nothing. It was setting you up for everything. And when that day comes, you won't need to explain how you did it. You'll just walk in it, and the world will see the glow of someone who chose focus over noise, vision over vanity, and purpose over popularity. You are not being left behind. You are being set apart. You are not being ignored. You are being refined. And when the time is right, the world will hear the roar that came from your silence. Until then, keep your head down, keep your heart pure, keep your mouth closed, and keep becoming. There's something powerful about quiet success, something unshakable about a person who walks in confidence without needing the crowd to clap. In a world obsessed with sharing every move, broadcasting every milestone, and looking for validation through likes, followers, and applause, it takes real discipline to stay silent while you build. But hear me, the people who get the farthest in life aren't the loudest, they're the most focused. And focus doesn't need an audience. See, we live in a time where folks confuse visibility with value. Just because something's seen doesn't mean it's solid. Just because someone's loud doesn't mean they're right. Real power, real progress happens in the shadows first. The seed don't sprout above ground the same day it's planted. It grows roots first. It builds a foundation. And it don't ask for applause while it's doing it. That's how you need to treat your progress, like a seed. Protect it. Nurture it. Water it in silence. Because when you start announcing everything you're about to do, you invite voices that have no business being in your garden. People will doubt you. Some will copy you. Others will try to block you, and a few will just hang around hoping you fail so they can feel better about their own excuses. Let me give you the truth. The most dangerous thing you can do with an idea, a dream, or a breakthrough is hand it to the wrong audience. And too many people kill their progress by trying to promote it before it's ready. You don't bake a cake halfway and then put it in the window, do you? No, because it's not ready to be served. Same goes for your goals. Some things gotta finish cooking in private before they're served in public. Success ain't about making noise. It's about making moves. It's about showing up consistently when nobody's watching. It's about taking the stairs while others wait on the elevator. You don't owe anyone a highlight reel of your grind. You don't have to prove you're working when you know you are. That kind of confidence is quiet. That kind of strength doesn't beg to be seen. It shows up when it's done. Let me tell you what happens when you shift your mindset from promotion to production. You get more done. You stop wasting energy trying to convince people of your worth, and you start living in it. You stop waiting on applause, and you start building something worthy of it. You stop giving speeches about what's coming, and one day you let the results do all the talking. And those same people who doubted you, who ignored you, who called you crazy, unrealistic, or too ambitious, they'll be the ones asking how you did it. But here's the twist. You won't need to explain a thing, because success has a voice of its own. When the fruit shows up, nobody questions the root. When the blessings start flowing, nobody asks about the drought. And when the doors start opening, you'll realize they weren't locked. They were just waiting on you to stop talking and start moving. Silence is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's spiritual discipline. It's understanding that you don't need to post every moment to prove that you're growing. You don't need to defend your dream to people who've never had the courage to chase one. And you sure don't need to seek approval from the same folks who wouldn't clap for you if you were on fire. Sometimes the best thing you can do is go dark for a while. Go build in the background, go study, go grind, go heal, go train, go invest in yourself without explaining it to anyone. And when you come back with results, come back unrecognizable. Come back so elevated that the people who once doubted you don't even have access to where you're standing now. That's the power of quiet success. People always say, well, I don't want them to think I'm not doing anything. Listen, if they can't see your vision without constant reminders, they don't belong in your future. If someone needs to be updated every week to stay on board with you, they were never really with you. You need people who trust your silence, who believe in your grind, who don't need proof today to believe in the promise tomorrow. But more importantly, you need to be that person for yourself. You need to trust your own silence. You need to believe in your own process. You need to remind yourself that what you're building is bigger than opinions, bigger than applause, and bigger than temporary recognition. Because the moment you let go of needing validation, you free yourself to focus fully. And focused people, they win. Every time. You want to know how to confuse the people who didn't believe in you? Don't argue. Don't post quotes. Don't throw shade. Just succeed. Just walk into the room one day with results so loud they silence everything else. The loudest revenge is peace. The loudest answer is excellence. The loudest comeback is becoming everything they said you couldn't be. Let your work talk. Let your discipline talk. Let your consistency, your faith, your resilience, let that do the shouting. Because the truth is, the most powerful people in the room are the ones who've mastered the art of being silent while building and loud only when necessary. You don't have to promote what you're doing. When you're truly moving in purpose, your progress promotes itself. Growth is a journey, not a destination. But the truth that often gets overlooked is this: not everyone can go with you. The higher you climb, the thinner the air gets. And the thinner the air, the fewer people are built to breathe it. When you're trying to elevate your life, you're thinking your purpose and your peace. You've got to recognize the power of separation, because not everybody is assigned to your future. Too many people are stuck not because they lack potential, but because they're loyal to limitation. They're surrounded by people who are comfortable with average, people who are allergic to change, people who live their lives circling the same problems but never chasing new solutions. And if you're not careful, you'll spend years in rooms that shrink you instead of stretch you. See, small-minded people don't always look like enemies. Sometimes they come as friends, as family, as folks who love you, but don't understand your vision. They'll support you as long as you don't go further than them. They'll clap for you until your success reminds them of their excuses. And the moment you start to grow, they'll try to guilt you into shrinking. They'll say things like, "You've changed." And they're right, you have. Growth is change. It's uncomfortable. It's disruptive. And it often makes other people uncomfortable because your progress shines a light on their stagnation. But don't you dim your light to make others comfortable. You weren't created to play small. Elevation requires discipline. It requires commitment. But most of all, it requires environmental awareness. If a flower is planted in the wrong soil, it won't bloom, not because it lacks beauty, but because the environment chokes its potential. The same goes for you. You can have the right mindset, the right dream, and the right skill set, but if you're planted around people who can't see past their limits, you'll never rise beyond your surroundings. Separation is not arrogance, it's alignment. It's recognizing that you've outgrown certain conversations, certain habits, and certain environments. It's knowing that if you stay too long in the wrong crowd, you'll start to forget who you really are. Let me tell you something: God didn't design you to fit in. He designed you to stand out. And sometimes that means walking away from familiar places to find your future. It's not personal. It's spiritual. You can't fly when you're tied to what's beneath you. And that's the mistake too many people make. They try to bring everyone with them. They try to drag their old life into a new season. But hear me, every elevation demands a shedding. Just like a snake outgrows its old skin, you've got to let go of what no longer fits. That might be friends who mock your ambition. That might be family members who remind you of your past more than they celebrate your growth. That might be mentors who once helped you but now hold you back because they're intimidated by how far you've come. Whatever it is, if it's not feeding your future, it's draining your purpose. You've got to be intentional about your circle. Who you listen to matters. Who you allow to influence your thoughts matters, because words are seeds. And if someone keeps planting doubt, fear, and limitation in your mind, eventually that becomes your reality. You need to surround yourself with people who speak life into you. People who challenge you to grow, not guilt you for changing. People who don't just tolerate your dreams, they encourage them. People who celebrate your wins, not secretly hope you fail. You need people who can breathe the air where you're headed. And if you don't have that yet, it's okay to walk alone. Solitude can be sacred. Sometimes you've got to separate in order to elevate. That season of being alone, that's where your strength is built. That's where clarity is born. That's where your faith gets tested and strengthened. Don't fear the separation. Embrace it, because it's making room for the version of you that's been buried under noise, distraction, and people who were never meant to be part of your destiny. You can't grow if you're always watering everyone else and never planting yourself in a space where you're being fed. Some people are so addicted to being needed, they forget to be nurtured. You're not responsible for saving everyone. You're responsible for answering your calling. And sometimes the best thing you can do for those around you is become the example of what growth looks like, not by preaching, not by forcing them to come with you, but by walking in purpose so boldly that they're inspired to level up too. But it starts with separation. The moment you get serious about your elevation is the moment you start losing people. That's how you know you're on the right track. Growth creates distance, and not everybody is meant to cross that gap. And you've got to be okay with that. You've got to stop expecting loyalty from people who are loyal to your past but not your future. Your dream is too important. Your calling is too powerful. Your peace is too precious to stay stuck in rooms where you're not growing. Stop explaining your vision to people who don't have the capacity to see it. Stop watering dead soil. Stop compromising your calling just to keep the peace. The truth is, growth is lonely before it's legendary. There will be moments when you feel like you've lost everything. Friends, comfort, familiarity. But in that emptiness, God begins to fill you with something deeper. Purpose, strength, vision, and eventually new connections that align with who you're becoming, not who you were. So protect your energy, protect your vision, choose your circle wisely. And if you need to walk away from some people, don't walk with bitterness, walk with purpose. Because elevation isn't just about going higher. It's about becoming wiser. And wisdom knows when to walk away. You want to fly? Let go of the weights. Release the anchors. You want to grow? Separate from what's stunting your development. You were made for more, and more won't be found in small-minded rooms. Elevation requires separation. It's not rejection, it's redirection, and it's leading you to everything you were created to become. There's a point in your journey where you realize the greatest thing you can do is stop talking and start doing. See, in the beginning, you want everyone to understand your vision. You want them to support you, to clap for you, to validate your dream. You keep explaining your ideas, your plans, your calling, hoping someone will finally get it. But let me tell you something real. Your dream ain't meant to be explained. It's meant to be executed. There is power in silence, not weakness, not fear power, because silence doesn't mean inactivity. It means focused activity. It means you've learned that talking about it won't bring it to life, but working on it will. It means you've stopped trying to convince people of who you are and started becoming who you were called to be. And that shift right there. That's where your power starts to multiply. When you're building something big, your business, your brand, your character, your future, you don't have time to be broadcasting every move. Growth doesn't need an audience. It needs consistency. Quiet seasons are where real progress happens. When the lights are off, when nobody's watching, when it's just you and your grind. That's where champions are made. That's where the roots grow deep enough to hold up the tree when it finally breaks through the surface. But too many people get distracted trying to prove something to others. They want to post it, share it, announce it before it's even real. And then, when life gets hard and the vision doesn't unfold on their timeline, they fall apart. Why? Because they built in public without doing the private work. Let me tell you something, silence protects your dream. It shields it from the voices that want to doubt it, criticize it, shrink it. When you keep your goals sacred and your moves quiet, you create a space for God to work, for you to grow, and for your results to speak so loud you don't have to say a word. Because here's the truth, results make noise. Success makes the announcement for you. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. You're not in a race with the crowd. Your timeline is your own. So while everybody else is busy trying to be seen, you go ahead and get serious about becoming something. Stay off the stage until you're ready to own it. Let the work build the platform, not the talk. Some of your biggest breakthroughs will come when you stop explaining and start executing. When you stop justifying your vision to small minds. When you stop needing permission to evolve. Growth is a quiet revolution. It doesn't need applause. It just needs discipline. And here's the thing, people will notice. Oh yes, they will. When you start moving differently, when your actions start aligning with your purpose, when your life begins to change, they'll see it and they'll wonder what happened. Some will say, you've been quiet lately. That's when you smile and keep walking. Because silence doesn't mean you disappeared. It means you showed up for yourself. You're in the gym, not the gossip, not the noise. You're building something too valuable to waste energy explaining it. That's maturity. That's focus. That's power. And don't be surprised if the silence separates you from some people. Not everyone will understand your absence. They were used to your availability, your attention, your updates. But now you've turned inward. You've gone from talking to transforming, and transformation often looks like isolation at first. But it's not loneliness, it's alignment. You're getting in position for the next level. There's a phrase you need to remember. Let your success be your noise. You don't need to tell them what you're doing. Show them when it's done. You don't need to defend your dream. Just deliver it. People respect the finished product more than the promise. So while they're watching, doubting, wondering, be working. See, the most dangerous person in the room is not the loudest. It's the one who's quiet, listening, learning, sharpening their sword. That's the person who's about to shake the room. And you, if you stay locked in, will be that person. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. You need to be intentional, strategic, consistent. Silent power is the kind that builds legacies. It doesn't flex for attention. It operates with vision. It's not desperate to be seen. It's determined to succeed. So stop explaining what you're doing. Stop announcing every move. Stop needing approval for every step. Get quiet, get focused, get serious. Go back to the drawing board, stay in the lab. Let the world sleep on you, doubt you, ignore you. And then let your comeback shake the room. That kind of silence. That's not empty. That's pregnant with destiny. That silence is full of purpose, full of grind, full of growth. So don't resent the season where nobody's calling, nobody's clapping, nobody's watching. That's your most important season. That's the season that builds your foundation. And when the time is right, when the vision is clear, the work is done, the calling is confirmed, then step forward, but not with a speech, with results. Let your life do the talking. Let your transformation be the testimony. Let your discipline be the evidence. That's the power of silence. So today, if you're feeling the pull to get quiet, listen to it. Don't fight it. That's the Spirit saying, it's time to build. It's time to protect your peace, protect your focus, protect your purpose. The world doesn't need another loud dreamer. It needs another quiet finisher. Silence is not absence. It's strategy. It's growth. It's strength. Use it.